We've only got 13 episodes left of HBO's fantasy poster child, with 7 of them in this penultimate season. Just 7! So we've put together our top 7 predictions of what'll go down this year. That means breaking down popular theories like what does R plus L equal J mean going forward, and can we still have Cleganebowl, as well as throwing down on a Game of Thrones Deadpool. Hey guys, I'm Brendan with Cinematica, and we're about to cross a whole sea of spoilers here, everybody. So if you haven't seen the first 6 seasons and the season 7 trailers, then turn back now. For everybody else still on board, hang on tight. Here are season 7 predictions for Game of Thrones. Number 1. Who is the Queenslayer? In the biggest power play of the show's run, Cersei ended last season with a bang by igniting the wildfire beneath the Sept of Baelor and wiping out a whole plot line. Now, as a queen with no friends and nothing to lose, she's perfectly positioned herself for a mutiny. It's just a question of who will be the one to pull the trigger, or the sword. After Jaime and Cersei's ocular exchange last season, plenty of fans are speculating that he'll be earning a Queenslayer title to go with his Kingslayer title. These theorists say that Cersei, in a moment of desperation, may seek to use the wildfire again, but this time across the whole city. Jaime would be forced to stop her the way he stopped the Mad King. If it all goes down like that, we certainly wouldn't be disappointed, especially with the cruel irony of Jaime yet again taking the treasonous action that once tarnished his name, only now on his own sister. Then again, could that whole setup be just a little too tidy and predictable? Nikolai Coster-Waldau himself seems to think so, but if Jaime's not the Queenslayer, then who is? Our money is on Arya, and here's why. After 7 seasons abroad, Arya is finally heading back to Winterfell, now with many years of sword fighting and assassination school under her belt. She closed out last season by crossing Walder Frey off her list, a list that, as of season 6, has been shortened down to just 2 more names, Cersei Lannister and Gregor Clegane. If we're gonna believe that Cleganebowl is really happening, and get hype, we believe it, more on that later, then she won't be able to kill the Mountain. That'll be the Hound's honor. So that just leaves Cersei, and Arya's gotta kill someone, right? Well, there's evidence from season 3 that backs this up too. When Arya has her run-in with Melisandre, the woman in red tells her, "I see a darkness in you, and in that darkness, eyes staring back at me. Brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes sealed shut forever." It's possible that each set of eyes corresponds to a major kill off of Arya's list. First is Meryn Trant, who had brown eyes, then Walder Frey, who had blue eyes, leaving a third green-eyed victim, Cersei. Arya also fits the prominent Valonqar theory, the prophecy that Cersei will be killed off by a little sibling, it just wouldn't be her little sibling. So if Arya is the Queenslayer, how might this bloody affair play out? Well, we're betting that any plot to assassinate the Queen would have to be highly covert, so Arya would have to go full incognito and use the face of somebody the Queen trusts. Oh god, what if it's Tommen's? Maybe even Jaime's? That would be a dramatic switcheroo. Number 2, Lannister family reunion. We're already sure that the Starks are having a family reunion this season. I mean, Entertainment Weekly did a cover story on it and everything, so that's not even like a prediction. However, we think the Lannisters are going to get the familial spirit and meet up too. There will be a lot less hugging, I imagine. In the season 7 trailer, we see clips that look like before and after shots of an epic battle between Jaime's forces and Dany's forces. This epic battle may even be fought over control of the Lannisters' home, Casterly Rock. The after shot of Jaime charging alone through a field of dragonfire doesn't look very promising for Team Lannister. Fortunately for Jaime though, Dany's team does still have a Lannister on it who may still have a soft spot for his older brother. Following the battle and whatever bold move Jaime is pulling in this trailer, it wouldn't be surprising for Dany's army to capture and imprison him. From Dany's standpoint, they could use him to get information about Cersei and her plans. From Tyrion's standpoint, it would be a chance to see his brother again for the first time since he escaped from his death sentence and killed their dad. The whole dad killing thing might still be a sore spot between them, so expect drama there. Finally, if Dany and her council then deliver Jaime back to King's Landing as a bargaining chip or as leverage, we'd get to see Tyrion, Cersei, and Jaime together again, reunited, and I bet it doesn't feel so good. Especially not if you're Cersei, and a prophecy told you a little sibling would kill you. Number 3, Big Man Euron. Pilou Asbæk, who plays Euron Greyjoy, has said that his character will make Ramsay look like a little kid. Big talk from somebody who's only appeared in 2 episodes. If Euron really is the big bad man that he thinks himself to be, he's gonna have to make some major plays this season to put himself on the great game board. Because of Cersei and Euron's mutual power droughts compared to Dany, there's been speculation that Euron will seek out a marriage or alliance with Cersei. That's a start. To make Ramsay look like a little kid though, Euron needs more than a tactical battle alliance. He needs to kill some some folks. His most personal vendetta is against Yara, since she stole all of his ships and ruined his plans to marry Cersei. Any attack that he mounts against the siblings Greyjoy will likely end in her death, but not just her. In the trailer, there's a clip of Ellaria kissing Yara, meaning those two are together. Take whatever meaning out of that phrase you want, but we're guessing that whatever fate Yara suffers, Ellaria and the Sand Snakes will be on the same boat, maybe literally. Two side notes here. First, if Euron does kill Yara, then Theon would have to step up and take charge of his people, which would be a great way for his arc to come full circle. Secondly, Cersei could still be out for blood against the Sand Snakes. I mean, come on, aren't we all in a way for that one trash Dorne plotline? The Snakes killed her daughter, which is a bigger deal, so enlisting Euron to strike back would be an appropriate requisite for their partnership. In the end, it doesn't matter how big or little a threat Euron is, what matters is, will he survive the season? We're actually gonna lean towards yes. We lost Ramsay Bolton last season, and we're anticipating a Cersei death later this season, so it'd be too tidy for every villain to get their just desserts. Euron hasn't had much time on screen yet to really deserve a climactic death, so a cowardly escape or imprisonment might be more his speed. Number 4, Westerosi Avengers. Move over, Marvel! The Season 7 trailer featured what looks like to be the most badass warrior team-up of all time. We got Jon Snow, Tormund, the Hound, and Beric Dondarrion back-to-back and kicking some butt. They need a cool team name like the Avengers. How about the Snow Dogs? Never mind. There are a few possibilities for what the dogs are doing here, and how it affects the rest of the season. Some people suspect that because nobody believes in White Walkers, Jon wants to capture one to use as proof that they exist. Or they may be seeking out the Horn of Winter, a mythical relic that the White Walkers could use to destroy the Wall. Maybe they're reenacting The Last Hero, an old tale about a man who once ventured beyond the Wall with a squad of companions to go recruit the children in the old war against the White Walkers. Or maybe they're just going for broke and trying to kill all the White Walkers before they can lead the Whites into the South. What do we think? We'll hop all aboard the Inconvenient Truth bandwagon, proving that the White Walkers are real. It's difficult enough as it is to unite the kingdoms when you're not trying to unite them against a foe they think is a legend. Capturing a White and bringing it to Dany or Cersei does the most to progress the plot and cross over even more plot lines, and that's what we're looking for at this point. If that's the goal, though, it looks like they failed dramatically. The White Walkers have captured them. We can't be so sure that this is a mission that every squad mate will escape from scot-free, so we're adding Beric Dondarrion and Tormund to the dead pool. The Hound, of course, will live to fight another day. Hashtag get hype. While we're on the subject of the White Walkers, here's another prediction for you: spiders. Spiders as big as hounds. The classic myths like the one Old Nan told Bran say that giant ice spiders are grunts used and sometimes ridden by the White Walkers. We've seen dead ice horses, and we may have to wait until next season for dead ice dragons, but in the meantime, spiders. I'm telling you, it's gonna be big. Number 5. You're a Targaryen, Jon Snow. Last season gave us the iconic reveal that was 20 years in the making. What does Hodor mean? Oh, and R plus L equals J2, I guess. So now that the audience and Bran know the truth about Jon's parentage, but Jon himself still knows nothing, what does that mean for him this season? Well, several things first. First of all, Jon's going to have to learn the secret somehow. Most likely the scenario will be that he discovers his heritage from his half-brother, cousin, actually? Bran. Story-wise, it would be odd for Bran to have learned the closely guarded secret of R plus L, which means nothing to him, and then separately for Jon to hear the same closely guarded secret from somebody completely different. So Bran's definitely gonna make it to Winterfell in time for the Stark family reunion, and dish out a little inside information to Jon. Jon's Targaryen heritage makes him the legitimate heir to Aegon's throne, and plenty of fans say that this means he deserves to be king. They're right, of course, but good luck telling that to Cersei, Euron, or Dany. If Jon can use his true name for anything, it would be to get in good graces with Daenerys. As fellow Targaryens, they can continue the Targaryen tradition of in-marrying and dragon riding and, like, being immune to fire, I guess. And hey, as long as we're discussing Jon's secret identity, I think it's safe to add that in addition to being Jaehaerys Targaryen, Snow is also Azor Ahai. Melisandre's been speculating about it all series, but she didn't have the internet on her side to help gather evidence like we did. So here's the wild theory. Jon Snow is going to die again this season, but then come back again. It sounds cheap until you remember that Beric has done that like 6 times now, also thanks to the Lord of Light. Rather than play it for drama this time, this show could use Jon's death and comeback as a means of emphasizing his chosen role in this story, as he slowly loses himself in the abyss. Number 6, Cleganebowl. Get hype! Did we predict that Cleganebowl would happen in season 6? Yes. Did it though? No. Have I been spending my nights on a street corner yelling at strangers while holding a cardboard sign that says Cleganebowl is coming? I mean, that's honestly besides the point, and it's weird that you know that. As of last season, the Hound is back, baby, and that means Cleganebowl still has a chance. For those less familiar, Cleganebowl is a fan theory that supposes that the spiritually reborn Hound and scientifically reborn Mountain will duke it out in a brother-to-brother trial by combat. Our hopes were dashed in Season 6 when Tommen did away with the trial by combat. Of course, now that Cersei is queen, trial by combats may be back on. It seems like D&D are throwing a Clegan curveball our way, so we've got to stay alert. How can Cleganebowl still happen? My fellow Cleganebowl truthers and I have speculated that this shot in Season 7's trailer is depicting Sandor Clegane at the Dragon Pit, whipping out his blade to do battle with the Mountain. Others say that it could be Bronn or somebody else entirely, but if it is the Hound and it is the Dragon Pit, then whose trial is it? If we're staying in line with our previous theories, it could be the trial of Yara and the Sand Snakes. In particular, if it's a trial for Ilaria, that would coincide nicely with her last appearance in the Dragon Pit, where she saw the Mountain squash Oberyn. Even though they aren't close to the Hound personally, there are so many alliances in play at this point that their freedom may be in the interest of somebody else on the Hound's team. Plus, wouldn't the Hound jump at the chance to get some payback on the brother who scarred him? We'll wait and see. But remember, hashtag Cleganebowl is coming. Number 7, Dany. Throneless. If there's one thing that George R.R. Martin isn't, besides a fast writer, it's predictable. Moments like Ned's beheading, the Red Wedding, and Joffrey's poisoning show that Martin loves writing against the conventional tropes and most expectable outcomes. D&D have been maintaining his spirit of shocking twists and false predictions for the show, but some say that the recent seasons have contained a handful of predictable moments. The use of wildfire in the finale, Sansa's letter to Littlefinger, Jon's resurrection, and Dany's 7-season-long pursuit of the Iron Throne, which now points to one explicit and predictable result: she gets it. So in the interest of avoiding predictability, we're betting that she doesn't. Besides writerly intent, there's evidence for this as well. The vision that Dany has of the throne room. In the vision, she enters the room and beholds the gaping holes burned into the ceiling as snow falls between them onto an empty throne. Dany wanders up to the throne, but before she can get it, she's suddenly at the gates of the wall. Here, she follows a figure through the blizzard that leads her to Drogo and their child. We think the burned ceilings are indicative of battle damage from Dany's dragons or Cersei's continued use of wildfire. The snow is literal. Winter has arrived in King's Landing. Dany near reaches the throne, meaning she is victorious over Cersei before she is summoned to help with the battle in the north at the Wall. Here, perhaps she faces her demise, never having set tush to throne. This sudden call to battle may be happening this season. Why do you think? Yell at us in the comments. Alright guys, are you ready? It's the Season 7 Game of Thrones Deadpool! It's tough to predict who else is going to die. On the one hand, the closer we get to the end of the show, the higher the risk of anybody, even the main characters, being killed off. On the other hand, there are less and less characters still alive these days, and the show still needs, like a cast, right? Here's who we think will kick the bucket this season. Number 1, the Night's Watch. That wall is absolutely coming down, quite possibly at the end of the season. The collapse alone could be enough to squash the entire Night's Watch under the fragments of icy magic debris. If that doesn't do the job, the Ocean of Whites will do the trick. Either way, Castle Black and all of its residents are on borrowed time now, and there's not much time left to spare. Number 2, Grey Worm. Now that Dany has entered the Great Game, she needs to be humbled by its insurmountable odds. Thus far, Dany's forces have conquered cities and melted opposition like Dragonfire on butter. However, with Dragonstone, Casterly Rock, and King's Landing ahead of her, there is no way she's going to go very long without a deep, cutting personal tragedy. As her most trusted general, Grey Worm's valiant death would hit her and Missandei. Number 3, Thoros of Myr. If Beric Dondarrion is going down, then his dear Red Priest buddy has to bite the dust too. In fact, Thoros' death could guarantee Beric's death, since there would be nobody left to revive him. Actually, on that note, number 4, Melisandre. The Red Granny had multiple character concluding moments last season. She was humbled by her tenuous connection to the Lord of Light. She revived Jon Snow. She was banished for her violent encouragement of Shireen's sacrifice. Karma, if it exists in Game of Thrones, says that she herself must be sacrificed this season, perhaps by her own free will. Number 5, Bronn. This one is going to hurt, but as with Grey Worm, we need to see casualties on both sides. Bronn doesn't have much going on these days except serving the Lannisters, and since we know that the Lannisters are going Mano eat Drago, there's a good chance that Bronn is going to end up browned. What a badass way to go though, right? Number 6, Jaime Lannister. Jaime himself has said that he and Cersei came into the world together and will leave together. Whether or not he's the one that's forced to kill the Mad Queen, it's not inconceivable that he'd take or sacrifice his own light shortly after her death. Number 7, Brienne of Tarth. There's a lot of bad guys on this list, aren't there? Let's add a good guy. Game of Thrones made a name for itself by slaughtering its most beloved characters, to the point that we don't really have very many of them left. Brienne is one of the few beloved characters who doesn't have an explicit role in the show's endgame. She's in a precarious spot politically, honor-bound to the Starks, but vaguely involved with Jaime Lannister. That makes her ripe for some dramatic and deadly confrontations. Oh, not to mention that Brienne is played by Gwendoline Christie, who's probably gonna be real busy in the coming years playing Captain Phasma in Star Wars. You know, if she's in like more than 2 scenes. And there you have it! I'm Brendan, and thanks for watching Game of Thrones Season 7 predictions. What do you guys think? Who's next on the chopping block? And how hype are you for Cleganebowl? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click that bell icon to become part of the notification squad, and make sure to subscribe to Channel Frederator, your cartoon central on the internet.